Hi, this is Christina on releasing for a better life. This is a program where I taught you to release the things in your life that you're trying to change or make better or that are bothering you. Let them go to God and then wait for messages to come back. And this is something I encourage you to do all the time, day in, day out. Sometimes you'll release multiple times a day. Sometimes you'll release once a day. Sometimes you might not release for a few days. But as you release, you will get messages back on how to change your life, to make it better, to improve it. And this can be used for anything. Again, remember, this can be used for the law of attraction if you wanted to. It can just be used to improve your life, to get rid of anxiety like I did, to get rid of maybe some depression. Again, this is not to replace therapy, but it is a good program to help you with your daily life and the things that are going on with your life. So I want to talk about this past week. Because and again, these videos that I do are actual like a journal. There's something I'm using as a way of talking about what I've been going through, and the messages I've got back and what I've been releasing. So take that for what it is. So this past week has been kind of a strange week, especially I've had a lot of things going on. There's some big negotiations happening in my work, and my husband and I have been working on a huge release to get growth in our lives and get some needed things we've been working on. And last week when I videotaped, I was talking about how I needed to learn to find my happy place. That's a tough thing to do. And I want to talk about this a little more because this is something we've been working on really heavily. And so the thing I want to make clear on this, the thing that's so important that I'm learning upon doing this myself and putting these videos together is none of this is going to be easy. This is not, I don't want to ever say that you're going to go through some of this and come out and say, God, I feel so much better. You do in the end. But there could be some times when you're going through some openings or realizations of your life or what you're doing that you realize it's hard and it's emotional and you've got some things to go through. And so this last week, my husband and I have been trying to dive in deeper to find out why some things seem like they're so far away. Like we just can't get that final grasp on getting them into our lives. We were doing a lot of releasing work, and what came back very clear to us is that we're not always living our lives like we're totally happy. We're not putting all this energy. It's a lot of work. Happiness, although it should be natural, is actually quite a bit of work. It's hard. And it's hard to even hear that, honestly, for me. But it's so easy to look for the worst and be negative and find things to be angry at. And, heck, you can just turn on the news and be filled with anger and grief over what's going on in the world. And it's tough. But to actually find that happy place, that place that you feel so good about your life, that you can actually bring better things in, is tough. And you almost have to go through this opening, this where you become receptive to where you really are not being very positive and happy and excited, but where you're at. Even if where you're at maybe doesn't fit you, you still have to find out how to be happy with it, how to find joy and be excited about everything your life actually has. And that's tough. And we're realizing, even with all that we've been blessed with and how amazing our lives are, it's still tough to sit back and say, gosh, I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful for everything that I have. This is an amazing thing. And find not just say it, but find joy with it. Find happiness. Be like, gosh, I am happy. And when you find that happiness, then you're open to center your mind into what you want in. When you say, oh my gosh, I am so pleased with what I have. We're always looking for we don't have, and letting that dictate how we feel about life. I mean, it's tough. I often talk about my job, and how it pays me pretty well. It pays me, and it's a nice job. It's a stressful job, like all jobs. It's incredibly stressful, but in this grand scheme of things, it probably pays me better than most people get paid, and I get to kind of dictate my hours. So I work 3 days a week. They're long days, but I can do it, and so there are some real blessings. And to stop back and find the best parts of that job and say, I'm really pleased that if I'm going to be working, and I'm going to be working in a stressful job, that I have a job that these benefits exist from, and that those make me happy. And when I'm able to say that, it's not a perfect job, but those parts make me happy, I'm able to go to work and feel a little less stressed about it. Actually, a lot less stressed, because I remembered the best parts of it. And the best parts of the whole thing, I mean, I look at it like with my house. My house is beautiful, but it's not exactly what I dreamed of. It's not the perfect house. But when I look at it, it's a house. I have it. It actually is quite a lovely house. It has a lot of great pieces to it. And when I look at that, I come home and I appreciate it, and I'm okay being at home and seeing it. It's a great house. It's a beautiful house. I'm very lucky. And this is what gets so hard to do. We get so busy looking at what we don't have and what we haven't accomplished, or what we're still grasping for. We forget to stop for the moment and appreciate what's really right there with us that is working for us. And we forget that as soon as we do that, better things come, I remember, and then this is, we got a dog a few years ago, and he's a good dog, but obviously every dog has their problems, right? And he didn't come without his weird little niches, and for a while there, my husband he doesn't like dogs anyway, but with that dog, he particularly started to stress, because he's a dog and he's got weird habits and he's got funky little quirks, and my husband was just so uptight over the dog. He didn't want him. I got him for me and the kids, and he was very upset, and it turned into this huge stressful thing. And I said, well, we had to have a sit down about the dog. And I said, he's a nice dog. He's a smaller size, and he doesn't shed, and the way that we have it worked, he can get into the yard and play, and he eats just a little bit, not much of anything, and I mean, he really fits into our family well, and he's just really an easy dog overall. It's not a lot of work. And the moment my husband started remembering the better parts about this dog versus other, like the dog I had when he met me, which was a big dog that shed a lot, that needed a lot of long, heavy walks, and needed a lot of exercise, needed a lot of stuff. When he remembered how really easy this little dog is compared to that big dog, he all of a sudden quit getting so stressed about him and said, he's okay. And he's actually come to, I wouldn't say like him because he doesn't like dogs, but he's actually no longer stressed about him. The dog is okay. He's living his life. My husband tolerates him just fine, and he's not complaining about him anymore. And so, the moment he quit stressing and quit looking at what life would be like if we didn't have the dog and what the dog does, he all of a sudden is okay with the dog, and the dog doesn't cause him any more problems or stress. So it's not even just having to be happy, it's realizing what that fits, how lucky you are with just these little things. I mean, you may not want the dog, but this dog is particularly kind of a nice little dog, and he's not really worth stressing about. You may not want him, but that's not going to change because I wanted a dog. So anyway, so my point being is, when you find even the little pieces, the little things in your life that work, that are great, there's always something good about something in your life. There's always something, even if you can't see it. It's always there. And when you can find that, you can find little bits of happiness. And the more little bits of happiness you find, or even if it's not just happiness, but you're able to remove some of the stresses that you can't control. Like my husband can't control that the dog's here, but he can control the stress that he feels around the dog being here. He can stress that, he can let go of that and just let the dog be and not worry about him. So And you can do that in your life. You can find out where you can and can't let go of things. And the more you start stopping, you don't let things stress you out, and you find these little happy places, the more happiness just shows up in your life. And the more happiness that shows in your life and the less stress you have in your life, the more great things come into your life. It's, no matter what you believe in, law of attraction or anything else, it's just a reality. Like I have a lot of good friends who are very religious, but and that's fine, but they, like one, I remembered, she just stressed immensely because the people who were with her didn't agree on it. And she said, oh, but this is my joy, my peace, this is my world, because, I believe in this particular type of Christianity. And I said, that's great, but if it's causing you so much stress when you talk about it because other people don't believe in it, is it really that joyful anymore? If you can't just say, well, I love it and it's good for me and it works, and then let it go, because other people don't agree with it, isn't that better? I mean, doesn't that show that it really means something? Otherwise, you come off as panicked to convert everyone else to your religion. And, and as to me, religion is very personal. It's a very private thing, and you should be able to view it as you want. So anyway, that being said, hopefully this helps somebody. I know it's helping me. It's something we're still talking about. And like I said, it was quite a traumatic weekend to realize all the areas in which my husband and I have chosen to stress and kind of hold resentment and not allow ourselves to be fully happy people and fully people that appreciate what we have so we can bring in the next thing. And I don't think this is a new topic, but it's definitely something to be reminded, because obviously even with all the work I do, I needed to be reminded of it. It had to be brought back up, because as I was releasing, this is what I got back, is that I'm just not appreciating my life. I'm not finding pure happiness in everything given to me, so that new things can come in. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you next week.